Welcome back to San Diego Comic-Con, and I've got some terrible news. Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and pretty much everyone else in the Justice League are dead. But hey, don't blame me. For that, you can thank Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths, the brand new DC comic where a brand new Justice League takes on the biggest threat they've ever faced. Here to tell you more is the writer, Josh Williamson. What's up, Josh?
A lot. I killed the Justice League.
Yes, you did.
There's a lot going on.
So my first question for you, why did you kill the Justice League?
Well, you know, I really wanted to do a story about the sidekicks, and I really wanted to do a story about all the other heroes of the DCU, and if I wanted to do a story about them, it means I had to get rid of the Justice League. And I felt like I wanted to do a story about what death meant to these heroes and what death meant to the DCU, and that meant, again, getting rid of the Justice League for a little bit.
Yes. So when this comic launched, it was called Dark Crisis, but there was some big news here at Comic-Con that it is now titled Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths. Can you tell me what was the reason for this big title change?
Well, I mean, it was one of the biggest secrets I've had to keep, and it was so hard to keep for the last year that this was the real title. And because I knew we were going to be bringing back the Infinite Earths, I didn't want to reveal that at the beginning. I wanted to kind of ease into it, and I felt like with this event in particular, I wanted to have a bit of a slow burn before everything went really nuts. And I like the idea of reveals, and I like the idea of trying to keep secrets in comics, you know, and giving people these big moments. And I think now sometimes when we make these really big moments in comics, it's more than just the big moments in the comic itself. There is a bit of a having to, you know, make a show of it, right? And part of that meant keeping this secret with this real title. And so for the last year, we haven't been telling anybody what the real title was. And now that now we know the Infinite Earths are coming back, it was time. I'm like, let's do it. And yesterday we announced the real title, and it's been pretty awesome. The reaction to it has been really great. You know, just you can see the energy of us with this new title. People are really happy with it, so it's very exciting.
I've seen a lot of stunts in comics, but I've never heard of someone doing a big title change. I don't think I've ever seen that before. So props to you for finding something that was at least new to me.
No, I mean, it's really exciting. That was part of our plan for it. It's like we knew that this reveal was coming, you know. So it's like, well, let's do something different, you know. And I think that's a lot of what I wanted to do with this event in general, right? It's like normally when we do these big events, it's always about the Justice League. It's always about Batman and Superman, and that was part of it. It's like a lot of this stuff is more than just, you know, it is more than just what was happening in the comics. So that's like starting off with the Justice League. People have asked me well, why didn't you keep that a secret? Why did you put it on the cover? And I'm like, well, that was going to be impossible to keep secret. But I wanted to tell people what it was up front, and I recognize that now comics are more than just a comic. It is an experience. It's everything like this, right? Like it's an experience you go through. You go to the shop, you go online, you talk to your friends. You're not just selling a comic, you're selling an experience.
Yeah.
And so for me, part of that experience is the announcements.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, we look at how this is, you know, like how Hall H is and everybody, people are always trying to, I guess, game it a little bit and play with the fun of that experience. Because again, the experience of it now it's more than just me reading the book. It's the trailer, it's the teaser, it's all the hype, all the excitement. So for us, it was like, all right, how do we do that here? So it's like, okay, up front, Death of the Justice League, right out the gate. That gets people excited. Then it's like, okay, Dark Crisis, that gets people excited. Now here we are, 6 months later, Dark Crisis and Infinite Earths, now you're re-engaged. And it's about building on that experience to draw you in and make you want to read this story and see what we're doing. So it's all part of this big system we've been playing with.
Absolutely, absolutely. So when the Justice League died, only one member survived. It was Black Adam. What made Black Adam the one who would make it out alive?
Well, I'm not sure if you know this, but there's a Black Adam movie coming out starring The Rock.
Who?
So,
really? Wow,
yeah.
Okay. We should do something here at Comic-Con for that.
I know. Well, so part of the thing was, really early on, we had started developing the story and talking about these pieces, and somebody brought up, they were like, I think Black Adam should survive. And at first I was like, oh, I don't know. We kind of kept going back and forth on it, and then I realized, no, it was perfect. Because so much of the story is about legacy, and I wanted to look at this story at legacy from different characters' point of view, right? So like the Flash family and Wally, they obviously are all about legacy, right? Nightwing represents legacy. Hal Jordan has embraced legacy over time, right? You have someone like Deathstroke who hates legacy as being the Titan's main enemy. But Black Adam is somebody who I felt would be conflicted about the idea of legacy. And so for him to be the one survivor and he has to come back and look at all these new characters, all the new legacy characters that have been around for the last 30 years, I felt like he would be somebody who wouldn't automatically believe in them. He would be someone, to be frank, and this is what he does in the book, he's just like, you all suck.
Yeah.
You know,
it's pretty
you are
skeptical.
not. Right yeah. And I felt like once I started realizing that so much, what the emotional arcs were. You know, I knew what Nightwing was going to do. I knew what John Kent was going to do. I knew Wally and Hal. I got really excited about Black Adam's emotional journey over this story, and so that's why he became the one survivor and became a really big part of this event.
So I feel like one hallmark of Crisis event comics is that they have a plot so kind of like out there that it's hard for me to wrap my head around. And this one kind of does fall into that. So I'm glad I have you here because can you explain who is the villain and his motivation for why he's doing this?
Yeah, so Pariah, who in a lot of ways was the main character of the original Crisis on Infinite Earths, Pariah was a character who was like kind of an egomaniac.
Yeah.
And on his Earth, he didn't care about anyone. All he cared about was knowledge and knowing the secrets of the multiverse. And so in the process of him, that obsession, he's the one that triggered the destruction. He's the one that actually triggered the original Crisis. He awoke the Anti-Monitor. When you read that book, like he's kind of the star of it, right? And he has a lot of big moments in it. But when you think about this, you're like, oh, this is a guy who did something wrong, right? He basically destroyed all these planets. Like he was the trigger of it. It always kind of bugged me that like no one ever was like, hey, this actually started with you. You're kind of the bad guy. In the actual book, there's a scene where a bunch of characters get together, and Lady Quark is like, this started because of you, and she's mad. And then Uncle Sam, of all people, is like, no, he's gone through enough. He's gone through enough to be okay. And I'm like, that's it? This person led to the destruction of Infinite Earth, and that's it? But then I also started thinking about Pariah and his mental state. You have a character who literally witnessed Infinite Earth be destroyed. What does that do to someone? And I was like, if anyone is like, I have to fix this mistake, it's him. But how far would he go to get the Infinite Earths back, to correct that mistake? And that's his motivation. And part of it is like he's recognizing all that he lost, and he wants to get that back at all costs. And that includes killing Justice League and killing really anybody he can to get that back.
You know what? That actually makes perfect sense, and I love that. I love that you came up with that. That's so cool. And I just gotta say, I feel like I've known you, through various interviewing you for all the books you've done. You had Flash, your big start. I'm so happy to see you doing so
awesome.
well.
Thank you.
Doing all these big DC events, and you're killing it. So good job, man. I love this.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That's really great.
Yeah.
We've known each other for a while. It's great.
Yes. Good for you, man. This is awesome. This is awesome. This is your moment. But actually, your moment's over. So thank you, Josh. Thanks for talking to me.
Yes, thank you for having me on here.
And so Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths is one of the biggest comic book events of the year, and it's happening right now. So go support your local comic book shop and help avenge the death of the Justice League. And for everything superheroes, living or dead, you're already in the right place, IGN.